Good evening, everybody. PA Figs here, or right now, Florida Figs. I am visiting family still, and brought some cuttings and an air layer with me. And the problem I've been having down here in Florida, my dad will grab whatever potting mix he can find at Home Depot, and it tends to be Miracle Grow or something similar. But I'm finding that their potting mix down here is very different than the potting mix we have in Pennsylvania. It's much heavier down here. Not sure exactly why, but I was able to find some Pro Mix at a Walmart of all places. I couldn't find a good potting mix at any of the local nurseries, and none of them make their own. So I did take a look at some of this Pro Mix. It's mostly peat, but it does have a good amount of perlite in it to keep it draining. So I'm going to use this self-watering pot to up pot this Bordeaux Negra Ramada air layer, and then I've got some cuttings I'll show you as I get going there. Okay, I've got the Bordeaux Negra Ramada air layer potted up here. I am going to move it into the garage tonight just because hurricane or tropical storm Eta is supposed to hit tonight, so I don't want this to get either so waterlogged or blown right out of there. So that'll go into the garage. It's interesting, this air layer actually went dormant up in Pennsylvania recently. So I'm very curious to see how long it takes in the Florida sun, heat, and humidity to start sprouting leaves again. I'm going to guess it won't be more than a week or two, but we shall see. Alright, let me get started on the cuttings. Alright, so here are the cuttings. I don't have tags down here yet. I ordered some, they just haven't arrived yet with all the delays that are going on. So I did find some multicolored straws in the house. I have two Colidom Mutante cuttings and one Calderona de Minor. So I'm going to do the green for the Calderona de Minor and then the orange for the Colidoms. So the cutting I took before I left for home, I am just going to scrape it up a little bit with this razor blade. And then in Pennsylvania, we always have to worry about humidity in the winter, warmth, moisture, those three things while we're rooting cuttings. They have to be pretty exact or else your cuttings won't grow in Pennsylvania. So for these, I brought them down to Florida figuring better conditions, because in Florida, to get a cutting to grow, you go like this. That's it. Going to grow. Florida, the humidity is so high, the temperature is always where you need it, in that 80-degree range. There's not much to do other than that. I like to leave just one node above the surface. It'll sprout from there, or it'll even sprout sometimes from below the soil line and grow up. So now I'm going to do the same thing with the Colidoms. And I actually haven't seen these yet because I just got them delivered. They look nice. Some tip cuttings. I'm going to do the same thing down here. Scrape these up a little bit. And I just want to scrape it to where I can see some green. Nothing deep. Just a little bit. And especially like where that node is. Get a little scrape on that. Most of your roots are going to come out from where the node is. And again, Florida style. And you don't want to put this cutting all the way to the bottom, because it will rot down too deep. So you want to get it about midway, I'd say. That's about there for that cutting. And I probably could take some of these cuttings and cut them in half, but I'm not going to. And then once they're in, I just like to water them in to make sure that that soil is compressed right up against that bark. And that's it. Very easy. And my father and I, when he's been down here and doing these, we've had probably a 75%, if not higher, success rate compared to Pennsylvania, where I'm happy with 30 to 50% most of the time, in terms of getting them from cuttings to not just sprout, but to start to actually grow and then transfer to outside. So tomorrow I'm going to put these in a shaded area. They don't need to be shaded except for the sun hitting them and drying them out. So I will put them in a shaded area just so they don't dry out in case I forget to water them. They won't need sun until the leaves start to sprout. But for tonight, they're going to go in the garage with everything else so that the tropical storm doesn't destroy them. And I will try to keep everybody updated on the progress of those 4 figs. Alright, everybody, I'm PA Figs. Have a great night, and hopefully the hurricane will not continue to form and strengthen, and it won't be too bad, and we'll see how things go. Take care, everybody.